Donald Trump has released another series of these Truth Social diatribe videos that he posts where he's ranting about all sorts of different things. And we'll get into a number of these videos that he posted. As can be expected, some very dishonest rhetoric being spewed, and we'll look at towards the end of the segment kind of the implications of this rhetoric. But first, to start off with something a little bit more lighthearted, he is talking about, in this particular clip, he'll get to it, Joe Biden in a swimsuit. All right, here we go.
Crooked Joe Biden's only campaign strategy is indicting me. That's all they can do. Keep indicting him on nonsense. Going on extended vacations and sleep, sleep, sleep. That's what he wants to do. He wants to sleep and he wants to go to the beach and sleep. He thinks he looks good in a bathing suit. He doesn't.
All right. And you might remember he was also fixated on this during the Tucker Carlson X interview.
Lift the chair. He can't walk to the chair. And I don't know what they're doing with the beach. You know, this beach is seeming to play a big role, but they love pictures of him on the beach. I think he looks terrible on the beach. He looks terrible on the beach.
Skinny legs.
Well, he can't walk through the sand. You know, sand is...
So let's just be honest. He's seen some images of Biden at the beach, and he's jealous. He is. He's jealous. But whenever he says they're thinking that he looks good on the beach, gosh, it's playing a big role, these images and videos from the beach, that's only right-wing media obsessing over videos of Biden at the beach, obviously. How is that relevant to our political conversation? I don't know, but Jesse Waters did a whole segment on Biden shirtless. It was very strange. Then you have this from Donald Trump.
Crooked Joe Biden is totally controlled by China, Ukraine, and various other countries. They know everything about him, all of his misdeeds, and there are many. He's a corrupt person. He's a compromised president who is leading our country to hell. In the true sense, and I don't know if you know what this means, he is a Manchurian candidate. Trust me on that, it's not good.
And of course, when he says that, he means he doesn't know what it means. It's not good, though. I know that for sure. And as if I have to say it, it's not the case that there's any evidence to prove that Biden is controlled by Ukraine or China or corrupt in all these different ways, as continues to be asserted by many within the right wing. For an accusation that size, you really would have to have at least one tiny bit of evidence for it to be a legitimate claim or a legitimate accusation. Then you have this really stepping up his rhetoric, and he retruthed, I guess, a different video from a little bit further back where he's in different lighting.
I think that crooked Joe Biden is not only dumb and incompetent, I believe that he has gone mad, a stark raving lunatic with his horrible and country-threatening environmental open borders and DOJ, FBI weaponization policies. He is a mental catastrophe that is leading our country to hell. We'll end up in World War III because of this man, and for no reason whatsoever. Thank you.
Uplifting message. Thank you. He always makes that kind of point alluding to Russia's invasion of Ukraine when it comes to World War III, saying that Biden's going to lead us into World War III, when Biden has done really everything correct in his response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Plenty of criticisms of the Biden presidency and all that type of stuff. But when it comes to the way he's responded to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, it has been exactly as it should have been, in supporting Ukraine in a very strong fashion, trying to make clear the United States is not going to directly, militarily interact with or get into a conflict with Russia, meaning avoiding World War III, but making clear we're going to support Ukraine in the ways that we can. And in advance of, before Putin actually invaded, taking seriously the threat of him invading and calling him out for it early and warning the international community about how it actually could happen, as many people were saying, oh, no, he's just putting troops on the border. It's not actually going to lead to an invasion. And then the United States' intelligence apparatus was absolutely correct on that. And all these different steps have been absolutely correct. So to assert that in some way Russia invading Ukraine is because of Biden and he's leading us to World War III is absurd. last clip we'll look at from this series of rants. Then we'll talk about what this dangerous rhetoric leads to.
So now that I have full subpoena power because of the freedom of speech sham indictment by crooked Joe Biden, deranged Jack Smith, and the DOJ, it has just been reported that the unselect January 6th committee, they are unselect indeed, of political hacks and thugs, has illegally destroyed all of their records and their documents. So they took all of their records, all of their documents, they reported it, tried to get me indicted, and probably did, and then they destroyed everything.
And thousands or millions of people buy into stories like that he tells, even though, as USA Today points out, no evidence. January 6th committee destroyed records, contrary to online claims. That is a fact check there. In reality, they didn't do that, but they did do a really good job of uncovering evidence to give us more insight into what happened in the build up to and on January 6th, and in a broader sense, Trump's attempts to overturn the results of the election. And it was really good what they did, better than I would have expected from a congressional investigation. Really good job there. But this trickles down. Trump kind of sets the rhetorical agenda. He portrays himself as being wrongly politically persecuted and this big victim, and the prosecutions are proof that our country's falling apart. And then you get other MAGA people lower down the food chain, you could say, such as Georgia State Senator Colton Moore, who start perpetuating the same nonsense and escalate the rhetoric even further. Take a look at this.
Ability to subpoena documents, to subpoena witnesses. And at the end of the day, we've got the legislative authority to call in the Supreme or the state troopers and bring these people in, right? I mean, and now that we've got 19 people who are facing the rest of their life in prison because they spoke out against an election. I mean, you know, I told one senator, I said, listen, we've got to put our heads together and figure this out. We need to be taking action right now, because if we don't, our constituencies are going to be fighting it in the streets. Do you want a civil war? I don't want a civil war. I don't want to have to draw my rifle. I want to make this problem go away with my legislative means of doing so. And the first step to getting that done is defunding Fani Willis.
So that's the line we've been hearing of, I don't want to have to take up arms, but if we can't do it through the peaceful process, barely a dog whistle. Pretty clearly he's saying what we know him to be saying, and threatening violence if they don't get their way, if they can't defund Fani Willis or the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. It's very scary. We talked about earlier this week also Sarah Palin saying something similar.
I think those who are conducting this travesty and creating this two-tier system of justice, I want to ask them, what the heck? Do you want us to be in civil war? Because that's what's going to happen. We're not going to keep putting up with this. And Eric, I like that you suggested that we need to get angry. We do need to rise up and take our country.
Do you want a civil war, she says? Because we're going to, if this keeps going the way this is going. And you're right, we need to be angry. We need to rise up. So blatant, so dangerous. All serving a dishonest set of talking points, because Trump can't just accept accountability. Or at least can't just accept that this is his stuff to be dealt with, not at all representative of some wrongdoing on the part of those prosecuting him, or wrongdoing on the part of the left, or proof that the country's falling apart and you're losing your country and rise up and no civil war. And so we're seeing, as you saw there from Sarah Palin and the Republican state senator, it's heating up the rhetoric for sure. And it needs to be called out because it's completely inappropriate, based on dishonesty, and could lead to some real harm, as we saw with the individual who was threatening the different enemies of Trump and then ended up getting into a confrontation with the FBI, and they were serving an arrest warrant at his home and he got shot dead. That is real harm because of lies. And I really wish some of these individuals pushing the nonsense, the lies, would have the moral compass to recognize that and put the well-being of people, put the truth beyond their political motivations. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are able to be uploaded to the YouTube channel, plus get the bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership, and there's a link in the description.